hosting this hour. He's coming up in the next segment. We're taking your phone calls now at 877-789-ALEX. I see Hayden in Nevada says he's from the shooter's hometown. Says his father knew the shooter. We've got Leo in Washington State. He says he has info on how the Vegas shooting was planned. We got David in Las Vegas, says another middle school shooting in Vegas. I'm going to look that up. I couldn't find that. Brandon says it is a false flag, or is it a false flag? Is it the actual guy? We don't know. So we'll continue to track that. All I know is gun owners are being blamed, and the Democrats are calling for revolution and mass death. So anything that does happens on their watch, and it's their fault. I mean, hell, they say we're not sending any aid to Puerto Rico, and it's been there for 2 weeks, and the Democrats won't offload it off the ships. I mean, if they'll kill people there, you think they'll kill people here? They are the scum of the earth. Hayden in Nevada, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. Tell us what you think's going on. Give us your information from Nevada, the site of the biggest gun massacre, a person using a gun massacre in U.S. history.
How's it going, Alex? Well, I'm from Mesquite, and this morning when I woke up, my father, he works at the ER in the only hospital in Mesquite, and he said that he had recognized both of the people. So he doesn't personally know them, but he said that he had recognized them. And then another thing that I wanted to point out is I've been following the story since last night when, you know, it had officially come out at like around 10 o'clock. But I'd watched Dan Bilzerian's Instagram story, and if you listen closely, you can hear like that there are multiple. It sounds like there's stuck.
Yeah, I sent the Bilzerian clip to the crew. I don't know if they ever aired it. But when you guys pull up Dan Bilzerian's clip, you have to clip out where he says they shot her in the effing head. They just shot that girl in the effing head, but you hear it. It's like pop, 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 and pop, pop, and you hear. In fact, I meant to cover that this morning. I'm glad you reminded me. It's not just an echo. It sounds like there's multiple. That's what people were saying when all this happened. But what do you think of the Democrats waiting and immediately saying, give up your guns?
Well, you know, it doesn't surprise me. You know, I saw Hillary's tweets, and, you know, it's just disappointing, honestly, that, you know, at a time of tragedy like this, she immediately turns into her political agenda that she's trying to push on gun grabbers and whatnot.
Well, we're going to get that Bilzerian clip for folks. Actually, I have it on my phone. I sent it to you guys this morning. If you need me to resend it to somebody, I can do it. But our grief isn't enough, she says. We can't. We must put politics aside. Stand up to the NRA. I said, oh, don't. So first she's like, you know, let's not have politics. Thanks for the call. I can't really do the show because I got the audio still in there reading that. Thanks. Anyways, not for Hillary. Hayden, thank you so much for your call. Let's go ahead and take another call. Let's talk to Jacob in Las Vegas. Says his cousin was at the concert. Go ahead.
What's up, Alex? Hello?
Yeah, we had some distortion there. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Anyway, my cousin, she was at the scene of the shooting, and all of a sudden, just bullets were, like, just coming, and she didn't know what to do, and she just started running, and she got out there, and it was just, this whole thing was just crazy.
Well, what do you think's behind all this? What's your gut tell you, Jacob?
I mean, I don't know, you know, but a lot of people are saying this is a terrorist, or like, I don't know if it is, but I don't know, you know, the liberal media and the CNN and all this, they all twist it up. And it's like, what do you believe, you know? Like, crazy.
Well, is your cousin okay, Jacob?
Yeah, she's all right.
Well, God bless her, and God bless everybody that survived, and the 500-plus people, hard to believe that number, that are wounded. We'll find out more details as it unfolds. Leo's in Washington State, has info. David is in Las Vegas. Brandon, I mean, I'd have to be a moron not to see what was going on, but we did Friday do an hour broadcast. And now the left is openly calling for revolution, mass killing of police, conservatives, and white people. And I don't want to be racial. It was mainly folks that weren't white, I'd say it. It's mainly white folks pushing it and putting it all out there. And I've just got stacks of the news here. When people celebrated, the left celebrated. It's on INFOWARS.com, PresentPlanet.com, NewsWars.com, on Twitter and Facebook, celebrating the death. Oh, good, I'm glad a bunch of whites died. You saw when Houston got hit, most folks, leftists, thought that Houston was all white people, even though it was 70%, quote, minority. Often are Republicans, see? Wow. Fired their vice president. I mean, folks, I've got stacks of news here where they're celebrating it, and then they virtue signal that I want to kill whites, like the head of the Baylor department over vaccines. She's a white lady, and she goes, the problem's white people. We need to kill them. This is on TV, and everybody's looking at her at a conference going, excuse me? She goes, yeah, whites, let's kill them. And more, it's like, what's the most extreme thing you can say in this Trump derangement syndrome era? Well, can we post that article immediately? Man, the CBS vice president fired for saying the whites deserve to die. And then you wonder why some weird leftist with ISIS doesn't declare responsibility unless they've done it, folks. They didn't declare it for France. They didn't declare it for Canada yesterday because they didn't know the people. Later, if it comes out they were with them, they'll say, okay, we declare responsibility. They said they've been communicating with this guy, and his girlfriend had gone to the Middle East, gone to Dubai, and I talked to the hostage rescue team folks, and these are good sources. They gave us good sources on the Bundy, what was going to happen there, and we warned people. They are saying that, no, he shot at them, they shot him, and now we know cops did get shot. That's all been confirmed hours after we first broke it, and that it was just Antifa crap everywhere, and, just drugs and liquor bottles and just another whacked out loon that just... When I walked in this morning at 8 a.m., he was already here. And that's Kit Daniels doing a great job, one of our lead writers and researchers. He said, Alex, let's look at him being on psychotropic drugs, because they'll take somebody politically who's already whacked out and put them into la-la land. So we're going to take more whistleblower or eyewitness calls or people that have family there in Florida, or there in Florida just got hit too. We're worried about Florida with everything there in Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll be taking those calls. The toll-free number to join us is 877-789-ALEX here in a few minutes. Then I'm going to let Pieczenik take over. We got Chris in Vegas. We've got Leo in Washington State, Eric in California, David in Vegas, Brandon in Virginia. I'm going to go to those calls here in just a minute. But Jack Pieczenik, I'm not surprised by all this. The Democrats are already saying it's white males. They're the problem. Simultaneously, though, because it was mainly whites being killed, they deserve it. While Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, said after the Islamicist Somali ran over folks that, well, this is white supremacy. We've got to end it. So, it's going to make the Muslims mad. They've got to kill some white people. So weird virtue signaling to the Muslims saying, please don't kill us. ISIS taking responsibility. But while the Democrats simultaneously blame white people, I mean, I think we've entered cloud cuckoo land here. What do you think?
Yeah, Alex, we also saw Hillary Clinton, who would be president of the United States, but for Donald Trump, her first response, her initial response was to attack conservatives, attack the NRA, saying that they are to blame for this, that they want more of this. That's who's to blame here. Then she says, we don't want to make it about politics. But of course, she goes and in the same breath makes it all about politics. She says, thank God the guy didn't have a silencer, or else they wouldn't have been able to hear the gunshots. Well, Alex,
they're not called silencers. They're called suppressors, and they're loud if it's a rifle. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right, so she's actually disseminating misinformation. See, while in the midst of a national crisis, she's playing politics. She's disseminating misinformation to 23,000 retweets. Keep in mind, this could have been the president of the United States who's willing to throw half the country under the bus just to make political points at a time when there's still blood on the ground, while the bodies are still being counted and families notified. That's what she would have done. That's what the left wants. And you see, I don't see anyone on the left calling her out for this. I don't see anyone on the left disagreeing with these remarks. I'd also like to point out, where did she get her sniper knowledge? Did she get her background from when she was in Bosnia and when she claimed that she was fired at by snipers out there? That actually turned out to be false. So this is somebody who's made a history of claims, but the left won't call Hillary Clinton out on this. We haven't seen them call her out on this. And so the question is, do they agree with her sentiments, and the same sentiments that we saw here from CBS, this executive who essentially was almost praising, I would even call that praiseworthy comments of what this sniper did in Las Vegas by attacking them because they were Republicans. Well, they deserve it. They got what they deserved, this type of language. Why don't we hear more people on the left calling for and attacks this. Alex, you and I have taken the peace pledge. We've taken an anti-violent pledge. We said we don't support violence. We don't support any type of it. We did that in the wake of the Steve Scalise shooting. We held a peaceful rally outside of the White House. But instead, the left, all they seem to do is egg on this violence. And
then they play dumb right after it happens and claim we did it. I mean, it's just the death of logic. They think we're not paying attention. I want to take a few calls and let you take over here. But
sure.
I mean, you just saw this Islamist guy attack the church last week. The left is pushing this whole hog. They really are crazy.
Alex, it fits their narrative because ever since Trump was elected, they want to sow fear and to discredit Trump, to discredit him from being the president. I also saw Caddy K out of the BBC was saying, well, let's compare this to how Trump responded to San Bernardino. Let's compare it to how he responded to Orlando. And I said, wait a second, Trump wasn't president during those things. Why are you trying to tie those things that happened under Barack Obama's administration to President Trump just because he's president now? So what they're trying to do is create this sort of alternate reality where everything that's ever happened is Trump's fault and then use it as ways to attack him so they can move against him later to create those sort of conditions for when moving against the president, making open attacks against the president, calling for him to be impeached, calling for him to be taken out. This guy Joe Bernstein over at BuzzFeed made a statement today, and AR-15 became president. The left-wing BuzzFeed, which has been caught running false information about the president in the past. So you really have to start asking the question is, what is their final goal with all of this?
Absolutely. Let me expand on that.
Always make these things.
Well, let's talk about that final goal in a minute. But the people responding to her on Twitter, when the CBS vice president said she has no sympathy, they're like, yeah, this will make them start politically being anti-gun. They deserve this. This is just a sick group of freaks bringing in the Islamists, bringing in all these people, letting them radicalize folks. And then when it happens, they take no responsibility for the carnage they've done all over the Middle East, all over Europe, all over the world, and then they sit around after 1 million dead, after Hillary honchoed the Arab Spring, and get in our face like we deserve it. But remember, they blame me, saying I said that the attack on the young women at that music concert, that they deserve.
In the military, we would call these soft targets, right? So they would call these targets of opportunity where there's going to be low security, it's going to be a gun-free zone, so there isn't going to be a lot of ways to respond to it. There's going to be ways to get away from it. So whether or not the ISIS claim is true, we do know that these are the types of attacks that ISIS has called for, has inspired, and has run, if you look at Paris just a little over 2 years ago.
When they attacked the Eagles concert.
Right. It was also a concert. It was also a public concert, a lot of people together. It was not a military target. It was designed to create mass panic.
And they know folks,
create hysteria.
And they know folks have been searched going into a concert, so it's an unarmed crowd they can kill. Wow. Ladies, I talked to the folks involved, and they said, no, this guy was shooting at us. We killed him. He had Antifa crap and Islamic stuff everywhere. His girlfriend was going to Dubai. There's photos of that. Just on top of it, to add to the total weirdness, running down a dream. Tom Petty found unconscious in full cardiac arrest, now in a coma, according to TMZ. That just broke seconds ago. You guys tell me as soon as we get the video, please, off Twitter that I just watched 5 minutes ago during the break, please. And then I also want the Getty Images photo from our Getty account we have showing exactly where the shooting came from on the 24th floor. We have them all, then let's go to them right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the footage shot by a Twitter account. We'll put that account on screen as well. You can clearly see that it is a muzzle flash in cadence with the gun going off. And it is not on the same floor. It looks about like 10 plus floors lower. If you count up the floors, it's at the 10th or 11th, maybe 12th floor. Let's go ahead and roll that with some audio, please.
This shit is...
Roll it again. Then we've got the photo blown up. There you go. So that's the higher floor, they said. The 24th floor is where the shooting reportedly came from. We have video of the middle of it, and this is happening. Though that does look like two different rooms to me as well. Jack Posobiec, a naval intelligence, smart guy, patriot, one of the main guys who helped Trump get elected. You're a smart cookie. What, and then we're going to calls, what in Hades do you make of this?
Alex, I'd be very, very interested to see. So we're seeing a close-up image of those two windows right there. As we know, in Las Vegas, as many other hotels, the windows don't open, so they would have had to be either been shot out or knocked out from inside. I'd like to see, though, are there any shots of the building today? Any pictures? I mean, not shots like that. Are there any images of the building today that show that area? Where it appears to be muzzle flash, and it appears to be mirrored up with what
exactly. If we have any listeners, they should go there right in the middle of the signs on the front marquee, right up in the middle, where we saw those actual shots coming from. You just saw. I'll retweet it on Real Alex Jones. We need listeners to go down there and retweet those at us right now to do some human intelligence on the ground to see if those windows are shot out there, or there's a window that maybe it's an office area. It looks like they're able to flip up.
Right, so you'd be able to check that out. And to my ear, Alex, I was just kind of discussing this offline, but it when people were saying AR-15, that doesn't sound like an AR-15.
Sounded full auto, didn't it?
Kind of sound
heavy caliber.
It sounds like something bigger. It sounds like maybe like a 7.62, like a 240, something that potentially chain fed. Again, basing that just off of the sound.
No, it does sound like a chain fed. It's like pop, pop, pop.
Yeah,
pop,
it sounds
pop,
like
pop,
chain
pop,
fed.
pop, pop,
That's that rat-tat-tat. When you put I've fired an M4 at full auto in training in the past, and part of was trained by Special Forces. It doesn't sound like that rat-tat-tat kind of sound. It's more of like a buzzing, kind of like a bzzz.
Yeah, it's a bzzz, but the heavier machine guns are the pop, 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 pop.
That's the rat-tat-tat sound. So that's typically, you're talking chain fed. Now, if that was something that was chain fed, it would be highly suspect how you could get something like that.
You can't get that. That's almost impossible to get, even with ATF tax stamps.
Get it into a hotel like that with all the security they have there in Las Vegas. Now, could have put it in as part of a Pelican case, and run it up to the room and said, hey, this is just stuff in my luggage. But that being said, clearly, take a step back. This is something that had a high level of planning. Those rooms with a festival like that in town, that's something that gets booked out weeks, possibly months in advance. So to have that specific room, have a key reservation there exactly when that thing is going on.
Well, usually hotels won't even give you, unless it's a special suite, the exact room you want. So
yeah, unless you're one of those people who's kind of got a lot of those, they have those sort of like loyalty reward programs for high rollers.
And reportedly he was a big gambler. What do you make of his dad being in prison and then escaping for bank robbery and trying to run over cops?
Goes to show you that this stuff might run in the family. He may have seen sort of his father's, lawlessness, his father using that as a way to make money rather than, going to work like a regular person and getting to the point of seeing where, hey, if I can just keep gambling, if I keep doing this to make money, that can be something that I can do. And then maybe if it was an issue of his gambling debts, that's what led him down this road that led to this criminal act. If the guy did have any, big debts with gambling. I saw that he tried to sue a casino at one point, probably 2012, where he had a huge dispute with one of these casinos. So it leads me to believe that there's a potential for that type of financial...
Absolutely. Let's take a call. David in Las Vegas, you're on the air. Got about a minute and a half. Thanks for calling. David, you said there's another middle school shooting in Vegas?
All right, so what happened in Pahrump, Nevada, it's about an hour west of Las Vegas. It was a false flag, and basically a convicted felon tried to drop off their child. So that was just a false flag. But what happened with the situation last night, I'm hearing from some friends that are cops that this guy had cameras set up for the lookout for law enforcement, so he's watching them. And he had 12 rifles that were modified fully, and he had 1,500 rounds.
Okay, well, I mean, all I know is the left's already jumping all over this. Thank you for the call and blaming. Yeah, go ahead.
And, all the hospitals here in town are full of people. Yeah, there's a lot of injuries now, and it's probably going to turn out being even worse because I have friends that were there, and none of my friends were hurt, but I have friends that are texting me killed or the coach or something like that. And
well, God bless you, David. We should pray for everybody that survived, everybody that died, and their families. Jack Masoba's coming up, and he's taking over. A lot more straight ahead. And then after that, we'll have the War Room for 3 hours live.